The Battle of Utapau was one of the last battles of the Clone Wars, a decapitation strike meant to cripple the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Taking place over the course of just a few hours, the battle was extremely fast-paced. So much happened at once that even those of you who think you know the battle well may have missed several important details. In this video, we're going to be rectifying that and taking a closer look at the Battle of Utapau.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
In the final weeks of the Clone Wars, Separatist leadership was on the run. The members of the Separatist Council had been forced to abandon their personal strongholds to Republic forces, and as the Republic pressed its advantage in the Outer Rim sieges, the Councillors came under the personal protection of General Grievous. Grievous wasn't all that happy about having to babysit the Council, especially since he had to keep away from the front lines while the Council was present aboard the Invisible Hand. On the recommendation of Count Dooku and Darth Sidious, Grievous planned to just dump the Council on some distant stronghold where they would be safe. Initially, Grievous planned to conquer the planet Belderone for use as the Council's redoubt, but his plans were foiled by Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, so he turned to wild space for other candidates. He settled on the remote sinkhole planet Utapau, a neutral world in the Outer Rim Siege's Prae-Sitlan theater. One day, without warning, a Separatist armada descended on Utapau. With little to no chance of victory, the Utapauans surrendered without a fight. Claiming Power City, the Utapauan capital, as his stronghold, Grievous deployed thousands of battle droids into the city. A Trade Federation core ship, the Unlimited Projection, landed in the sinkhole city and was rapidly transformed into the Separatist Council's new command center. With the Utapauans powerless to resist, the Techno Union set about turning parts of Power City into droid factories, churning out new battle droids and Mank Vim 814 light interceptors. Even as Grievous and the Separatist Council settled in on Utapau, they began making plans to move once more, this time to a new, state-of-the-art fortress on Mustafar. As this fortress was still under construction, the Separatist Council remained on Utapau for several weeks. During this time, General Grievous left to carry out an attack on Coruscant. That battle, which became the largest of the Clone Wars, ended with a Separatist defeat and the death of Count Dooku. The CIS was left reeling after the battle, leading Grievous to hasten his plans to move the Council to Mustafar. As Grievous returned to Utapau after the Battle of Coruscant, he was unaware that he was being tracked by a pair of Null-class ARC troopers who reported his presence on Utapau to Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. Palpatine informed the Jedi Council, who immediately dispatched Obi-Wan Kenobi to liberate Utapau and capture or kill Grievous. Obi-Wan Kenobi traveled to Utapau with a clone army large enough to capture 3 whole star systems. Drawn from the 3rd Systems Army, Kenobi's force consisted primarily of the 7th Sky Corps, led by Commander Cody, and a detachment of the 501st Legion. They were carried into battle by a flotilla of Republic Star Destroyers led by the Vigilance, Kenobi's flagship. The Republic fleet waited out system while Kenobi infiltrated Power City alone, hoping to capture Grievous before the fighting started. After getting confirmation that Grievous was present from Port Administrator Tyon Medon, Kenobi told the Utapauans to rally any military forces they had and await the coming of Republic troops. After requisitioning a versatile dragon mount named Boga, Obi-Wan infiltrated the Unlimited Projection, locating Grievous and the Separatist Council in Hangar 10. Kenobi arrived too late to capture the Council, which left on a shuttle bound for Mustafar, but he was able to get the drop on General Grievous. After dismantling Grievous's Magna Guards, Kenobi began a fierce lightsaber duel with the droid general himself. Grievous was fast and relentless, but Kenobi's mastery of defensive lightsaber tactics allowed him to weather the storm and break through Grievous's guard. While Grievous was distracted by Kenobi, Commander Cody led Republic forces to Utapauan airspace and began an assault on Power City. As clone troopers landed in Hangar 10, Grievous fled aboard a wheelbike, but Kenobi summoned Boga and pursued. The Separatist forces in Power City were heavily entrenched, but they were unprepared for the Republic's lightning assault, leaving them at a disadvantage. Grievous had tens of thousands of battle droids present in Power City, as well as Droidekas, Techno Union Crab droids, Octoptara Tri droids, homing spider droids, hellfire droids, and armored assault tanks. The droids had gun emplacements set up all over Power City, as well as artillery emplacements around the unlimited projection, but they were rather lacking in air support. There was no Separatist fleet in orbit above Utapau, and all the Separatists had for fighters were a few Vulture droid squadrons from the unlimited projection and the light interceptors produced by the Techno Union's factories. The Republic was much more prepared. The Vigilance and 4 other Star Destroyers immediately established air supremacy above Power City, allowing LAAT gunships and HAET-221 assault gunboats to suppress Separatist fighter squadrons within the sinkhole itself. Using jetpacks to descend on the city safely, Commander Cody and several companies of clone airborne troopers made up the first wave of the Republic offensive, clearing landing zones for the rest of the clone army to be deployed at. Alongside clone infantry, Republic dropships delivered ATTEs, ATRTs, and ATAPs to combat zones all over Power City, where the walkers made quick work of Separatist tanks and artillery. The Republic also had allies in the battle for Power City, the Utapauans themselves. The Utapauan Skyforce participated in the aerial battle, with Dactylian riders and squadrons of Porax 38 starfighters providing air support for clone forces on the ground. 2 battalions of clone troopers, including the 212th Attack Battalion, participated in the first wave of the assault on Power City, while a third cut off any potential escape routes. The Separatists deployed their Hailfire droids in a bid to quickly repulse the clones, but the droids were obliterated from above by the Star Destroyer Vigilance. After this setback, Separatist forces retreated deeper into the city, where they would be safe from orbital bombardment. This allowed the 212th and a detachment of the 501st to capture Hangar 10 and dismantle nearby Separatist artillery emplacements, throwing the defenders into disarray. The Republic's initial offensive wiped out most of the Separatist spider droids and Hellfire droids, but the droid forces deeper in the city still had Tri-droids, Crab droids, and AATs backing them up, as well as numerous gun emplacements. The Republic was able to secure its initial landing zones with support from ATTEs and ATAPs, but it struggled to push deeper into Power City, especially into areas where the larger walkers couldn't fit. Republic forces had much more success in the aerial battle than on the ground, however. With fighter support from local forces, the Republic's gunships and gunboats made short work of the Vulture droids and light interceptors the Separatists were fielding. Meanwhile, General Kenobi pursued General Grievous through the streets of Power City. The two fought as they went, ignorant of the battle around them. Kenobi pursued Grievous to a remote landing platform where his personal starfighter, the Soulless One, was ready to take off. Kenobi and Grievous fought one last battle on the landing platform, during which Kenobi killed the droid general with his own blaster. With the CIS successfully decapitated, Kenobi joined the rest of his army on the battlefield. By that point, Separatist defenses were beginning to give all around Power City. The Republic and Utapauans had wiped out the Separatists' fighter squadrons, and Republic troops had captured the outer landing platforms and parts of the unlimited projection. The Separatists were still holding out in parts of the city the ATTEs and ATAPs couldn't reach, but clone forces were still advancing. The Republic had a distinct advantage, and it was slowly beginning to clean out the last pockets of Separatist resistance as General Kenobi rendezvoused with Commander Cody. After meeting up with Cody, Kenobi went to join the battle, only to suffer an unexpected betrayal. As Kenobi and Boga charged into the battle, Commander Cody received Order 66. He ordered an ATTE to fire on Kenobi's position, blasting the Jedi General off the cliff wall and into the sinkhole. After ordering Seeker droids to descend and look for Kenobi's body, Cody took full command of Republic forces on Utapau. It only took a few hours for the remaining Separatist forces to be eliminated. Once the battle was won, Commander Cody took over the late General Grievous's command post in the unlimited projection, from which he ordered his men to put Power City on lockdown. The Seeker droids Cody had sent after Kenobi's body had been devoured by a Nos monster that lived at the bottom of the sinkhole, leading Cody to suspect the Jedi Master was alive. He ordered his troops to search for Kenobi, refusing to rest until he saw a body. Of course, despite Cody's efforts, Obi-Wan Kenobi managed to escape Utapau. When he climbed back up into Power City, he found the Soulless One unguarded. As Grievous no longer needed the starfighter, Kenobi stole it and fled the system. The Battle of Utapau is one of the most well-known Clone Wars battles, but there's a surprising amount of detail in the battle that flies under the radar. But what do you think? Would you be interested in a video on some of the more obscure craft that participated in this battle? Let us know all that and more in the comment section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.